Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, our wounds will never heal. Commemorations are held for the 157 people who died a year ago in the Ethiopian Airlines crash just outside of Addis Ababa. Also, the deposed Emir of Kano has been banished from the state after being dethroned this week. Lamido Sanusi's lawyers say that he's been separated from his family and that his treatment has been unconstitutional. And Moroccan women have been slowly gaining ground in the main male-dominated rap scene. With their politically charged lyrics, these artists are making their voices heard in a traditionally conservative society. But first, Tuesday marked 1 year since the Ethiopian Airlines flight went down outside of Addis Ababa, killing all 157 people on board. Hundreds of relatives of those who died gathered to commemorate the victims, as did pilots and UN staff who lost colleagues. The accident claimed the lives of passengers from more than 30 countries and triggered the global grounding of Boeing 737 MAX jets. Nicolas Chemin has more.
Families of the victims were transported in buses to the site of the crash. It was a private ceremony and security forces prevented journalists from getting close. Local residents will never forget the 10th of March 2019. That day, the Ethiopian Airlines Boeing 737 MAX crashed in a field, killing 157 people.
It was very chaotic. We were in distress. We are still sad. Imagine what the families are feeling. It's a sad day for Ethiopia and the whole world. You're lucky you didn't see it. It was so shocking.
In recent days, there have been several ceremonies in embassies and at the site of the crash. Those killed in the accident came from more than 30 countries. This event was organized by Ethiopians who lived near the crash site.
We believe human beings are created by God. God creates all equally. That's why the Oromo people gives respect to all humanity. They don't know anyone from the deceased 157. They only know that they are human.
The Ethiopian Airlines plane came down almost 5 months after a strikingly similar crash in Indonesia of the same model aircraft. The two crashes led to a grounding of all Boeing 737 MAX jets. Boeing initially said the planes would soon be returned to service, but no date has been set.
Well, the deposed Emir of Kano has been banished from the state after being dethroned on Monday. Lamido Sanusi's lawyers say that his treatment has been unconstitutional as he's been separated from his family and he was forced into exile into Nasarawa state. The Emir of Kano is the second most senior Islamic ruler in Nigeria. On Monday, Sanusi was officially dethroned as Emir, accused of disrespecting the Kano state governor, with whom he'd been at loggerheads for several months. Samuel Okoya tells us more.
They felt this is quite a violation of his right, that he ought to choose wherever he wants to go. And he wanted to, when he was dethroned, he wanted to leave for Lagos with his family. There was a plane waiting for him, but the police stopped him, allowed only the family to go, and they flew him to Abuja. And from Abuja, they made a lengthy journey to Nasarawa State. The government felt this was very much in line with a colonial law that says when you banish someone, when you dethrone somebody, you banish him. But his lawyers are actually challenging this, that the law is old and it does not exist in Nigeria anymore.
So what's Sanusi likely to do now?
Well, clearly he will go to court to challenge the banishment because as far as it's concerned, the banishment is an infringement on his freedom of movement. He's been taken to 2 places so far where he never wanted to stay. His choice of place is Lagos, but he's been taken to a village. So the lawyers will be taking that up. In fact, the fact that his lawyers have not had direct access to him shows that he doesn't have full freedom. Of course, yesterday one of the governor's aides said he will be placed under house arrest. So clearly, he will be going to court to challenge the government's action.
Now, this whole affair has been met with some very different responses from communities in the north, where Kano is, and in the south of Nigeria. Why is that?
Well, it has to do with both sides of the country having different position on the former Emir's stand. The Emir had insisted that a lot of things have to change in the north, like people having so many children, not being able to send them to school, the high level of poverty, underage marriage, which is of course even common with some of those in the ruling class. But the ruling class in the north are opposed to this. They said part of these things are part of their culture, part of these things are part of their religion, Islam. But the South actually sees it differently, that you cannot, in the name of Islam, create hardship for yourself. So things definitely have to change. So that has been Emir Sanusi's, the former Emir's position, that people should not use religion to suppress others, that things have to change. And that is why the position is quite different in the South. The South, many people in the South definitely are in support of the former Emir's position that a lot of practices in the north of the country should change.
Sam Olukoya there for us in Abuja. Now, in other news, Morocco's first coronavirus patient has died. She was in her 80s and suffered serious underlying health issues. In total, the country has confirmed 3 cases. That death is only the second in Africa linked to the virus. Meanwhile, DR Congo has confirmed its first case, making it the 7th sub-Saharan African country to have been affected. South Africa's president has been cleared of lying to lawmakers over his campaign finances. Cyril Ramaphosa had been under investigation by the public prosecutor for having allegedly personally benefited financially from campaign donations in 2017. While the High Court has disagreed with those findings, the public prosecutor is currently being assessed for her competency for the job and has been criticised for being close to Ramaphosa's scandal-prone predecessor, Jacob Zuma. Staying with South Africa, a convicted rapist has been refused leave to appeal his life sentence. Nicholas Nino was found guilty last year of raping a 7-year-old girl in Pretoria in 2018. He admitted to the crime but denied having planned it. He said that he was on drugs at the time. A judge dismissed his application, saying that he did not believe another court would reach a different finding. And conservationists in Kenya are grieving the deaths of the country's and the world's only female white giraffe and her calf. The pair were killed by poachers and their bodies found in Garissa. They were the only ones of their kind in the world, and their deaths leave only one lone male behind, the offspring of his slain mother. Well, Moroccan women have been slowly gaining ground in the male-dominated rap scene. Thanks to social media, their visibility is growing, and through their politically charged lyrics, these artists are claiming their place and speaking up for their rights in a traditionally conservative society. Our correspondent sent us this report.
Moroccan artist Manal has been invited to the biggest morning program in the country with more than 3 million daily listeners. The 26-year-old musician's new album is due out in September 2020. This music video has already accumulated more than 23 million views, with lyrics that tackle issues like street harassment and sexual assault.
We tried to address the subject in a somewhat provocative way, including stereotypes of Moroccan and African women in Morocco or across Africa. The kind of criticism I get is that it's too aggressive, and up until now this type of music was more for men than for women.
The past 5 years have seen an increased female presence in the local rap scene, overwhelmingly dominated by men.
It's a little difficult for these women because the rap scene gets a lot of criticism. Flows, words, and terms are extensively analyzed, but they're doing a really good job.
Kauta, under her performing name Psycho Queen, got famous on social media. She's recording her new single in a poor neighborhood of Rabat. After 3 years, she's been able to make a living from her art thanks to her songs dedicated to women finding their place in society.
A woman is capable of doing everything in every field there is, like singing, comedy, cooking, dancing. They just need confidence in themselves, and that's what I'm trying to express in my songs.
Despite the challenges, this 21-year-old artist is getting recognition from her live shows. Her message, along with other similar artists, is starting to be heard and appreciated by young people across the country.
We used to only see women in choirs, but now they're performing solo live. It's great to see them rap about the problems in society and about women's issues.
These women are increasingly becoming role models to an entire generation.
Well, that's it for Eye on Africa. Thanks for joining us. Do so again. Take care.